Hi fam, it's Dylan's mum Deborah. This is Dyl Friends.
It gives you a back rub and says, it's going well, Brian. It's special.
Get comfortable, be uncomfortable. Just keep showing up and find a way.
Cam was so nervous he couldn't swallow water.
Handed him a sheet of paper with 6 names and said, "Chief, we've got to cut these 6 blokes."
Wow, shut up. I've just been barbed by a stingray, mate.
I'm just yelling at him, you saved my life, you saved my life, you saved my life. Thank you, thank you.
I spent the last, I think it was a couple of weeks in jail. The deepest, darkest moments often bring about our biggest highs.
Yes, welcome back to Footy and Friends. How are we, boys? Quickly, Footy and Friends brought to you by our friends at AAMI. Who covers clangers? AAMI does. Brett, how are you?
I'm good, mate, but before we start, how are you, mate? You've had a big week.
I've had a massive week.
I've come across something across my desk, Mick.
Leave it for just.
You don't
can
want
we
me to go
introduce everyone first before we get into it?
He's meant to be the nice guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm here and contradicting.
You're not happy with me at the moment?
Contradicting stories about your nice guy image.
I've got a lot of stories about you from the weekend as well, Mick, so we'll get to that shortly. But first, I want to welcome our most beautiful guest, Jack Post. How are you, my friend?
Hey, guys. This is like sitting in the middle of like this final scene of Reservoir Dogs where everybody has their guns drawn at everybody else at the same time. It's like, you're going to say something about me? Well, I'll say something about you.
That's pretty much what this show is. How are you? You excited? Footy and Friends? You love your footy?
Yeah, love
Big
my
Dons,
footy.
man.
You know, I just...
Kevin Sheedy's going well down there?
As I came in, Darcy, who helps you make the episodes, so I'm like, hey, Footy Friends, like they do a wrap of the footy. It's like, well, we don't do it every week. It's like, this has got to be the first football show that doesn't do every round.
It's just sort of when we feel like
we
it.
wake up on a Monday, usually when the show is meant to be on,
Yep.
and we just wait. Brett and I, because we just come in and we got told when to be here.
Yep.
But flip of the coin job is, not on today, boys, can't do it, or Dyl sick.
So you don't decide till Monday morning whether you're doing a show.
It's in the calendar.
It's in the cal. There's a cal invite.
But our esteemed organisers,
Yeah.
just, immune system.
Okay.
And so when Amy sponsors the podcast, do you say
Amy, who covers clangers? Amy does.
Do you tell them like, but on a whim we might not do it?
Mate, because the show in itself is a fucking clanger, and that's why they love it. Because
you lovable larrikins, if you don't do any shows and we sponsored nothing, I'm sure we'll still get something out of it.
To get into the real nuts and bolts of it is a fortnightly show. Until finals comes, we'll be doing it every week.
The voice 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah, we're going to do it every
my
week.
account numbers in BSB?
I told you send the invoices through. We'll talk about that off air. We don't talk about
address.
it in there. All right, go on. I know you got. Can I tell you something though before?
Yeah, go. Shoot.
So on the weekend, I went out. Now Mick's done me a few favours. He scratches my back. I often. Some people say, I don't scratch theirs enough. And I was like, I've got to go out there, help out Mick at the Werribee Football Club.
Yeah, Werribee playing Carlton in the VFL.
Yep.
Obviously, you used to play at Carlton.
Yeah.
So we need to get speaker.
I was in
the reserves.
No, hold fire.
Oh, right, sorry.
So are you playing at Werribee?
Coach. Coach. Former
How
player.
are you guys going?
We
I know you're a former player. I'm not such an idiot about football.
We're not getting too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're going to the bye, and we're going all right. We're going okay.
8 in a row?
8 in a row, yeah.
No, that's pretty good.
That's good. Yeah. In layman's terms,
Yeah.
going okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I ring Dyl. I'm like, CEO's hounding me. Need a Carlton legend to come and speak to the lunch.
Oh,
so
who
I'm
else?
like, I know the perfect person.
Yeah.
Jimmy Buckley. So Jimmy came, and I look up and bloody Dyl's there. I'm like, mate, I asked your dad to come, not you.
Don't do that. This is now. Can I tell you something? This is got to be
truth to this?
Genuinely one of the biggest AAMI clangers I've ever been a part of in my life.
Okay.
Like,
Are you super serving Amy now because you might not do a show for the next 3 weeks?
basically. I nearly died on the weekend of fucking embarrassment of like what I had to go through on the weekend. So firstly, Mick goes, you want to come out, you and your old man, just do like a 10-minute chat. I was like, yep, cool. Like, Mick, just so you know, I've been really sick. Like, I was sick last week. That's why I had to postpone.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in and get out because I've been crook. So I rock up, me and Dad are there. It's a president's lunch. So we've had to sit down for an hour and a half before we even get up and have a chat. I'm at the lunch. He didn't tell me about that, by the way. So we get there. I've driven an hour and a half.
It was implied.
Are you even there?
No, he's not even there.
Yeah. I'm coaching.
He's coaching.
So after the show, I'm going to run you through what a coach is.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know this. This is game day. I thought this was like a
this is game
Thursday
day.
night. Yeah,
This is my Sunday, my weekend when I should be spending it with my newborn son. Saturday. And I've driven out, hour and a half out on the road.
Where are you coming from?
Beautiful leafy suburbs. And I've driven out there with Dad. We're picking up, having a great chat in the car. enjoying our Saturday, you know, out there. Dad and I are there. So we get in there, having our lunch, and I go, geez, you know, quite an older crowd here. I don't think they're going to know sort of who I am, but anyway, this is going to be interesting. We get up on stage, and Jack, just to sort of fill you in, and the listeners who don't know, like, sort of contrasting careers, my dad and mine. They're not too similar. Okay, Dad's won 3 flags, you know, Hall of Famer, done some pretty awesome
But maybe
things.
he was just in the right team at the right time.
And that's what I say to him. Right team, right time. Yeah. Myself, we all know my career, 41 games, 2 clubs, 2 delistings. Not that much of a sort of interesting story, but I don't know if it's sort of Mick's fault or maybe the MC's role of getting us up at the same time to discuss. But let me just say, it goes a little bit like this. So they get us up. The whole room's in awe of Dad at the time, and I'm just sort of sitting up there like his son that's just sort of standing up there with him, that Dad said, oh, I need to do this, but my son has to come up with me. So already I'm sort of, looks like I'm sort of, like, Dad's sort of like, oh, I'll bring my boy up with me and we'll have a bit of a chat.
Like bring your kids to work
Bring your kids to work day. And we're up there and I'm just going straight away. People on the table are going, who are you? What are you doing here? And I'm like, well, I'm meant to be the guest speaker. No one even fucking knows who I am. But anyway, I get up there, we're chatting, and the great host of the evening goes, Jimmy Buckley, you know, tell us about you know, your
Dominator.
You're the Dominator, and how you went. And he goes, oh, you know, I was 16 years of age and came down from Kyneton and didn't even have a license. Used to drive down myself. And he's telling these incredible stories. Like, they're all in. They're absolutely on every word. And tells this one about, like, you know, back in the day, he used to play against Footscray, and there was this one guy named Johnny Williams who used to grab guys' nuts, and he grabbed mine. He goes, oh, they weren't even dropped yet, and everyone's just absolutely fucking losing it there. Then he goes, and Dylan, you know, you got drafted as an 18-year-old at pick 62, and how was that for you? And I'm like, okay. So now I'm backing up. Yeah, good, mate. Just got picked up from school, and had a couple of tough years, and that's how it went. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay, this is going well. So he goes back to Dad. He goes, and Jimmy, then you won your 3 flags. Tell us about your 3 flags. You go, I was with the Dominator, and he knocked it back into Kenny Hunter, and Alex Jeslinko was there, and it was a great career. You know, 3 flags at the end of it, and I had all these punch-ons with these blokes. Nearly won the Brownlow, won the best at Ferris. That story goes for 10 minutes. And he goes, and Dylan, after your career, you ran a marathon. I was like, who's put this run sheet together?
Something that literally tens of thousands of people do every year.
I got the club's feedback.
I go, yeah, mate, yeah, run a marathon. And that was
stop
great.
you there, Dyl. Can we ask your dad about one of the other shows?
I was like, midway through, I'm like, can we just get me off stage and just interview Dad? It was one of the most embarrassing
That's not bad.
afternoons of my life.
I got the club feedback. I got the club feedback.
Yeah, go for it.
I reckon Dyl knew he was in trouble, because when we do this, we have some fun, don't we?
Yeah, we
do.
do.
I reckon Dyl knew it because the coach comes in and speaks to the president's lunch, and I came in and I was in coach mode.
Yes.
You know, I was pretty serious. I was like, you know, contested ball and clearances and shape the ground. And I reckon Dyl's looked up and gone, yeah, I think this is going to be a bit dry. Yeah. But the club feedback, CEO, I said to him on Friday, I said, you're lucky I got your Dyl, because you're doing it for free.
Yep.
Because they'd usually charge probably $2,000 for these things. And the CEO, you know, he's probably in your dad's era, goes, Dylan, didn't you only play like 40 games?
41.
Yeah, your dad, sure, charged $2,000. So we get our money's worth for that. But sorry, what did you do again?
It was honestly just one of the
clanger.
biggest. It was an absolute clanger.
So that topped off your week then, because
I've had a big week.
I've got something else here that come across my desk earlier. Just a little something.
Can I ask? Just actually, it's interesting to me, someone who's not in the football arena, how much you can charge for like doing those cashies at football clubs.
Yeah.
Do you? Obviously, better players could demand more money, right?
Bigger the profile, bigger the cash.
Yeah. So do you like
I pay
flex
them normally
in the club rooms about like, oh, I'm an $800 a night cashier?
It's a great question. It's a great question.
Can I say, I don't do those things because I don't have those great stories like Dad does, because he just has them and he knows the ones that
He's done a few of them.
He's done a lot of them.
There's platforms.
That's what got me through
There's
school.
platforms out there for these things. You know, you get notifications saying, "Are you interested in this event?" It's like $3,000.
Kickstarter or something, is it?
And you're like, bloody oath I am. And then you apply.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where I'm not applying. But you apply. You apply, you're like, oh, that sounds great. $3,000 to go and talk to the school for 4 minutes. Who else is on this platform? You're looking up, it's like Judd, Pavlich, all these absolute stars. Like, oh, maybe they didn't apply, but they always apply.
They do. They apply and they get them. So it's basically the better your career, the more stories you got. Like, people that really dominate that game is like your Campbell Browns.
Wayne Carey's really good as well.
Speaking of
the duck. I found something. I had something sent to me.
Well, mate, it's hard. I got tagged in about 400 fucking times. I had the biggest week of my life this week.
Would you like me
Very
just
embarrassing week.
Should I just play it first and then
Yeah, okay. I'll play
we'll where is it? Hang on.
Yeah, and I don't know too much about these two gentlemen, other than one of them's dad is a legend. Jimmy Buckley, that played for the Blues back in the day. Jimmy was tough and relentless. And just,
He's saying I wasn't tough?
So imagine how disappointed he is with his son Dylan, who didn't actually end up playing.
Oh, no way.
And now just
Social media superstar.
The bird on the bicky tin. But Jimmy would be disappointed.
Where do people saw this?
Oh, mate.
So some context here. Dylan has his own podcast.
He does.
And he's made...
I'd never heard it, but I heard
No, that's a lie. That's a lie. Come on.
their podcast, which is great. But
Get him on.
like I said, and then the other guy who...
Daniel Gorringe.
Yeah, I didn't know his name. But it was just great to...
I didn't know his name. His dad's not proud of him
guys
either.
pretty much failed at what they have tried to do, but they are doing well with their podcast.
Oh,
So you
that
get
was
the-
good. Yeah,
you
you get the
of
gist,
that.
don't you? So, look.
He has absolutely nailed you like there,
Oh,
hasn't he?
100%. Yeah, it's fair to say.
Because what did you do, though, to deserve that? Because I don't know that story.
I just gave a recommendation of his podcast. It's a great show. Go and check it out.
Oh, legit.
Yeah.
Like, you
Did
were
you say it
100%.
just like that?
I was 100%.
You were honest.
Yeah, 100% honest. He
No
said it's a
tongue in cheek.
No, it's a fantastic show. Go and check out the program. And, it's just taking that. But look, that's... I was a bit
Part of the
upset
game.
hearing it. It's part of the game. You
Yeah.
take your
Bit
wins, you
tit for
take
tat.
your losses, tit for tat. I'm just really proud that one of the greatest players of all time is
Knows who
giving.
Dyl Buckley is.
Knows who I am, and also I think that after the weekend and standing up there on stage after the stories of Dad and that I had to share. I can't help but probably agree with Wayne that Dad would be completely disappointed in me and the stories. I even think my dad is very honest. And even after we got down, he goes, "Oh, you did a good job up there, mate." And I go, I don't think I did. I don't think so.
Because when Mick said that the CEO of Werribee spoke about you after the game, that was almost verbatim to what Wayne Carey said.
Literally. So,
Can I ask what is bird on the bicky tin?
I don't know what that meant either. Bird on the bicky tin.
Does that mean, are you the bird on the bicky
I
tin,
think
or is
so.
your dad?
No, I think it must mean maybe just riding his coattails or something like that. I'm assuming.
Oh, like the bird's only famous because the bickies are famous?
Maybe. Yeah.
We'll have to look
take
that
a
up.
deep
It's
dive.
bickies or something?
Have you ever been involved? Because you're well known for the Hamish and Andy podcast.
Yeah.
Has there ever been any cross podcast feuds you've been involved in?
No, but I think because we're such a polite show, we wouldn't even you making fun of like a tongue in cheek. Go and listen to Wayne Carey's podcast. We wouldn't even stir the pot
you
like
should.
that.
Yeah.
I think you should.
But that's why you guys, I know what you mean. And that's why you've been successful for so long.
It's because we're keeping everybody
Have
happy.
you had anyone try and fight you guys ever?
Slash is the only interview that we recorded that we never played out for the guitarist of Guns N' Roses. But this isn't even a great feud. We set up a guitar for him in the studio because we thought he's a great guitarist. Maybe he'll play guitar on the show. And he walked in and he goes, "What's that doing there?" And points to the guitar. It's like, "I'm not playing that." And then for the full interview, he kind of slumped in his chair and wasn't really participating. So we never end up playing it. But I wouldn't say Hamish and Andy have a feud with Guns N' Roses.
No, okay. Well, apparently I've got one with Wayne Gary now. But
How do you respond to that?
I don't know.
Yeah, hit him hard. What have you got for
No,
him?
I don't want to go hard.
Why not? Chicken?
I don't like. I love joking around, and the thing is, I wouldn't have even said that. I was just like, when you're in with Dan, now we all know Dan Gorringe, who just starts
Wayne
fights
Carey
left,
does.
right, and centre. Wayne Carey does. When you're with Dan left, right, and centre, and he's just going at stuff, and you get caught up, and then you think once you leave the room, you forget what you say, and then all of a sudden, I just got tagged in something, and even my sister, who's very, mate, I'm not telling you, SEN called me. They're like, "Can you come on the show and want to talk about it?" The fucking Herald Sun Confidential called me. They're like, "Oh, we've seen
that's
these
big news.
comments." But I was like, how embarrassing is this that I've been picked up to go have a chat in the Confidential about
So
something.
did you go in confidential? Did you
Yes,
go on
I did.
SEN?
No, I didn't. But
It's so TMZ.
isn't it? I was just
You'll
like,
get
what?
tapped soon.
I was like,
Isn't
what
this
is going
actually,
on?
don't online brands now, like people on YouTube and
Yeah, they
social
want to
media.
fight everyone. I don't want to fight anyone.
You raised both your profiles by having an on-air
and
war.
look, to be honest, I actually have met Wayne a few times, and I've gotten
Do
on
you
with him.
introduce each style? Exactly, mate. Dyl Buckley.
Yeah, he goes, "I'm the duck." I say, "I'm the buck, brother. How are you?" And no, I don't know. It was funny, but anyway, I'm just looking to put that board behind us.
Well, I think
hoping
there is, and I'm sure there would have been, just a behind closed doors discussion with you and Dan. Because I think,
we've got Liz Cloggers recording tonight.
Okay, in terms of the percentage of who's stirring the pot in that duo, I'm seeing the other side of the coin.
It's like the drive-by of 90% him stirring the pot, and then I'm copped 90% of the backlash. So it was hard. But look, as I said,
anyway,
all love to him. It's been
You've
a big week,
mate.
It's been an embarrassing week, and I feel like Dad's
good start to the show though. We've really covered some footy topics.
Carlton won though.
Carlton won. Flag Blues. Did you see that?
I didn't see anyone saying Flag Blues. No, I missed that one.
Yeah, no, it's been a big week. I want to talk about. We spoke about the President's Lunch. Carlton had a good win. That was the main thing I wanted to really talk about today was the President's Lunch. Before we get into Blues,
what do you? Yeah, okay, go.
No, you go.
No, I was going to ask about the Blues. So you go. I
was going to say who's our number one contender going into the rest of the year. Now, Pies D's Power.
Yep,
clearly on top.
Yep.
Pies seem to be running away with it, but are they going to get tired? I don't know. Yeah. D's and Pies on King's birthday was huge. And is there any other teams that can actually challenge at the moment? It's just
I love
those
that you have to do from 2 rounds ago because there wasn't an episode in between.
So since we last picked this up in April, what did we say about West Coast were going well?
West Coast were going well. Now they're literally getting relegated to the waffle.
I'll jump in. I'll say all those top 3 are beatable by a young Bombers side.
On their day.
Yes.
Are the Bombers in the 8 at the moment?
Yeah, we're in the 8. Oh, yeah, we're in the 8.
Yeah, who's going well for the Bombers, you feel?
Well, great to have Big Peter Wright back. 5 goals on return.
2 metre Peter.
Yeah, former son.
Yep.
Teammate.
What's he like in real life?
Tall.
Big.
Tall and
quiet.
Red hair.
Yeah, I actually have met him.
Yeah.
But he, I asked to pose for a photo with him, but he didn't seem so interested.
You were so like Slash and Peter Wright have got beef.
I saw him at the Mission Impossible, what is it? Top Gun Maverick premiere.
Oh.
Yeah. And he was with Will Snelling, and Snelling was happy to take a photo. Peter Wright looked like he didn't really want to be part of it.
Did you get the photo with him?
I got the photo with him. Yeah, somewhere on that phone is
I'd
love to disinterested looking Peter Wright.
See how long and short of it. Who have you got, Mick?
I like the Power.
Yeah,
I'm in.
All in on them.
I'm in. Like they're bloody midfield.
They've won.
Ollie
they won down
Wines,
the row.
Brownlow medalist a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
When the game starts, he wanders off to the bench.
Zach Butters is the best.
Oh,
Butters,
God,
Rosie, Horn
so
Francis. Boak's kind of playing his role. Wines.
Finlayson up front with Marshall.
Can I don't know, if you guys don't want to talk about fantasy so much, then we don't have to, but like...
Are you a fantasy guy? Anyway?
Big time. That's why I know you boys so much and not... Dylan doesn't look familiar because you guys are very fantasy relevant in your time.
Have you seen Neefle fantasy? I
don't even think you'd pick me in the Neefle, to be honest. It wasn't a strong stats. It was never my forte.
But I'm actually the commissioner of my fantasy league, and we're heading into the 9th year, and I've got Ollie Wines on my team this year, and it's sad to see him take a step back from heavy duties in the midfield because it means he scores less.
Yeah,
so he's taking a step back because the others are taking a step up. But the Power, Ken Hinkley still hasn't got a contract.
So they're not even addressing it to August.
I've never said and I've got to start really retracting my comments. I reckon I've said about 6 times over the last month that Ken Hinkley's getting sacked. I just don't think that I've got to stop running with it because I don't think it's going to happen anymore. They've won 10 in a row, haven't they? Or 11?
11 now.
10 or 11 in a row.
But where does it get to in August or even at the end of the year if they bow out in straight sets?
They've done that before, haven't they? Yeah,
I do all the time.
Tend to agree. We can get a bit high on the home and away season, then the finals come. The real season, Dyl. It's the real season.
It's a real season. Hey,
but as a coach, Mick, if you and you have so far said won every game of the season with your team,
we lost 2 at the start,
right. But won 8 in a row. You would assume that you're going around again next year if you wanted to.
Well, I've got a contract, so that helps. Contractually obliged.
Yeah.
But I would feel if I wasn't contracted next year, the discussions
would be starting.
Yeah.
You'd be adding a couple extra zeros on that one as well, wouldn't you, or not?
Well,
what if North Melbourne come to you and said, Mick, we want you?
Well, that's actually
that'd be cool.
So if a team next year said, and they should, if an AFL team said, Mick, we want to take you next year and you'd be a senior assistant or a line coach, could you leave that?
That's because it's an upgrade.
You can, yeah. Oh, that's all I've got to say.
That's all he's got to say. All right.
I'm all in.
Do you want it? Is that where you want to be eventually?
Good question, because I like doing what I'm doing now.
You like a bit of media.
Because you've got about
Friends
7 different jobs.
Yeah, the ABN's getting a workout.
Yeah.
So, now, like...
Very
right
quick
now, 'cause
invoicer, Mick.
Werribee,
Very quick invoicer.
End of the month, 31st. We're our own team. You know, like Essendon have their VFL.
Yeah.
So that's tied up in their AFL system. So we're our own.
There's only a few left, right, in the VFL that aren't affiliated. Oh, seven
of 21. So.
I was listening on the weekend at that lunch, actually. Now, this might rustle a few feathers in the VFL, but you should nearly merge Coburg and the Bull Ants together. They're 3 kilometres from each other.
Was my team. I was a Coburg local.
I played for Preston, and it's like nearly the worst thing I could say knowing because they hate each other. There used to be this thing called the Bell Street Cup, which you'd play because we're both off Bell Street, and you'd build it up like nothing. Like it'd be
so why do you want to merge 2 traditional teams?
Because they're both very
rubbish
struggling at the moment. Right. And the reason being, the Bell Street Cup would literally, to be completely honest, is to not finish last on the bottom of the ladder. Normally, it would equate to that because those 2 teams would come and play each other. But I don't know. Is there enough? Like they're both struggling at the moment. Aren't they?
They are.
Is it because it's harder to have a team who's not affiliated with
post COVID? It's the VFL's taken a bit of a hit, like the standalone clubs salary cap and all of that. And the finances behind probably most standalone clubs has been pretty bleak for a couple of years. So last year there was only one standalone club that made finals. So Southport. Who have been
the
good
pokies.
Yeah, so but they've lifestyle. So salary cap versus lifestyle. It's probably a deep dive needs to go into it. I'm obviously very staunch towards the standalone clubs and would love the Bull Ants and Coburg to be doing well and competitive.
So do I, actually.
But they are pulling from the same areas, the Northern Footy Leagues and the Eastern Footy
But
Leagues.
also, don't like the obvious one to an outsider is that the VFL clubs that have an association with AFL get AFL quality players playing for their team sometimes.
Every week, yeah. But that can change depending on their injury list.
Doesn't help the Swans. They're sitting 1-9 as well.
The Swans have had. That's how it filters down. The injuries from the AFL
filters down.
If Swans only have 6 or 7 AFL players, they're in a bit of strife because their top-up players are young academy kids. So unique league.
You can see if I'm asking too many nuffy questions, just go like, all right, we've got to talk about the games now. But what now that the Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sydney, or in the VFL. That's something new, isn't it? Or did you guys?
That was a NEFL. That was where Brett and myself made our names for ourselves.
Didn't we, Brett? That's when we first played together.
Yeah, that's when we first played together.
The 3 of us against each other.
Mick had about 70 touches.
I think I had about 70.
Nick Shipley was supposed to be tagged. Mick, he had 45.
So are you guys flying up to Queensland now? Every now and again?
Yeah. We went to Brisbane for early in the year and Southport. So
that's expensive for a standalone club.
Yeah. We only go 3 times.
Yeah, but that's not too bad.
Yeah,
but the AFL, I think those clubs they have to travel every second week.
Boys, as much as I think the audience gives a shit about the VFL and the travelling and stuff, I think that
they don't listen to me when I coach, but they say, "Oh, I heard you on Dyl Friends."
Yeah, well, that's probably the only sort of relevance of their health at the moment that it gets spoken about on this show.
One more thing about that.
Okay, if it's about the VFL, it's not about the VFL. We've got to move on from that.
But it's about you saying like it's expensive for the team to play up.
It's a VFL finances. Okay, fantastic. Even better.
Even the AFL having to fly like all over the country to play in matches. Yes. My wife, who's American and used to American sports, assumed that you all flew private jets.
Yeah, it's back cabin. It's back cabin of the Virgin.
Freo and West Coast are starting to charter.
Are they really?
Yeah. Really?
I think West Coast are chartering everyone, and Freo are picking and choosing. Apparently, after the game on the weekend, and we can turn into some footy talk.
Oh, that'd be good.
Freo played GWS. How many do you reckon went? Because Tommy was there.
Tommy was there, mate. He had some.
So that's one.
I want to stop banning people from calling their own, if they play over 2 clubs, the Sheridan Cup.
Like, Dango Orange and Tommy, your 2 mates.
No, stop it. It's just
Mitch
getting
Robinson's
embarrassing. Yeah, stop it.
He had his own medal.
Oh my god, honestly. Anyway, unless it's the fucking NEFL game, like Carlton reserves versus.
Well, you're legit taking the piss out of yourself.
Yeah. Did you ever call it for the Giants and the Blues?
No.
There's so many. I feel like Giants and Blues like trading all over the place.
A lot the other way.
Reece Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer.
March
Tanner Halpin.
Plowman.
Back to the GWS Freo.
Sorry,
Tommy was there. 2 things out of that game. Freo, when they wear white shorts and purple jumper, I think it looks good.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. That's sometimes what we talk about as well.
Aesthetic we really had to move on quickly. Sorry. I was holding us back from getting to this.
So Freo's so 2 things I took out of the game for Freo. Free, actually.
That's good.
The jumper, I never got to wear it really, the white shorts, which I'm ashamed because I think it looks good.
Why do you?
And
get
they
to win?
charter flights
Oh,
because I
why?
heard them say on the radio call, because I was in the car, Freo were trying to figure out what time their charter flight was, because if it went well, they were going to stay around for a bit for some reason. If it went poorly, they were going to get
Straight out.
straight out. So they got in and got straight out.
out.
Third thing, Freo are going really badly.
Yeah, they are.
In the first quarter. So
Yeah.
they've won 1 of 18 or 17 or something.
Yeah,
All having played for multiple clubs, who do you find your allegiances are?
I like that.
Like,
question.
what team do you barrack for more?
We VFL or AFL?
No,
now?
VFL, I'm more connected to the Preston Bullets. Actually, I'm a 50-game player there. And I've just told them to relegate.
I'm certainly Fremantle.
I'm Tigers.
Yeah, Tigers.
My girls are Tigers, so
Yeah.
I'm on board there.
Yeah, it's a business question for me. Really, that one. It's
Who can you least pissed off?
Yeah. No, I'll say I'm more connected to the current group at the Giants, so like just the people that work there. But I forever will love, like, the emblem of Carlton is my team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, your dad's
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, my dad's team. Yeah. Wayne's bringing me down, hasn't he? It's really been a big week for
I think
me.
Jimmy might get some sporties
From that?
off the back of this.
Yeah.
From him
Yeah.
doing that.
Is that what
which you could probably go along to.
Oh,
Well,
mate,
that was
I could go along to bring up his son to just stand by him, and that was great.
He must
That was
have.
really good.
And this is my
Really
dad.
good. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, if someone had filmed it, it would have been one of the hardest things to watch.
Actually,
possible.
as I was walking out, I was like scanning and I was like, it's in
Mate,
deep water.
the people on there, just before we were going up, I was explaining to the people on my table what a podcast was. And I was like, I don't think this is going to work.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Anyway,
major sponsor.
Hey,
No phone.
how good's this one on the weekend, boys? How would you take this in your team? Say you're a coach for the moment until your best players want to drop themselves. Jack Gunston, Daniel Rich dropped themselves this week. They didn't go back and play twos, but they just said, no, we're not playing well enough. I want to be off
Really?
selection.
Does
Yeah.
that happen?
Apparently.
Really?
What
It
would you-
doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen, does it?
I've
Yeah.
never heard of that.
I did that a few times,
Yeah.
actually. But it was just the coach agreed. And
Yeah. It's like when you know you're going to get fired and you're just like, I quit.
I quit.
I got a really good story about, and he doesn't think it's a really good story. Gary Kibbertson, when he finished up at Freo, so he'd had enough. He'd injured and out of contract. Went into his exit meeting and I said, "Yeah, no, Ross, that's me done." And Ross said, "Yeah, good, because I think it was going to be you done anyway."
Why not just let him have it? Oh, man, we really
That's
thought you
not-
had one more year left in you.
Yeah, that's not verbatim, but Ross
so
was kind
funny.
of brutally honest.
I love that, though. It's so... and this probably is one of my biggest pet peeves is when players do call it on their career and the next year they're playing at local footy clubs.
Yeah.
It's like, if you retire, you retire. That means you don't play footy anymore.
Why is
So,
that?
a
Not
lot
even
of
for a
play-
cashy.
A lot of players, I think, they call time on their career, their 20s, like my age.
Yeah.
They'll be like, I'm retiring. It's like, no, you're getting delisted.
Oh,
You're not
He's not getting a contract.
You're getting
Yeah.
delisted, and then you're going back and playing with fucking Montmorency for $100,000 next year. So, like, you're not really retiring, are you? Because you're still
They
playing.
make that kind of money in
Oh,
local
I don't
leagues.
know. That was
It was fall on your sword, pretty
that
much.
was verbatim,
Yeah.
as Mick would say.
you know what that means?
No, I don't.
That
but
means
I like
word
the
for word.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Daniel Rich and Gunston
That was not verbatim.
putting their hands up and saying, we don't want to play this weekend. Like, when do you even do that? Is that when the teams are getting selected? And
Well, I didn't even know they were playing that badly.
You need a week
How much
inside
have you
an
watched
AFL
Brisbane,
club.
though?
I'm
Yeah, not
fascinated by
much.
like,
How at all?
yeah, because
Yeah.
from sitting from the outside, like it is interesting to know, like, at what point do you raise your hand in front of everybody and go, like, I'm not playing very well, so don't put me in.
Yeah.
Don't pass to me.
It is strange. I don't know. Like, I think they've done it to try and come off as very like noble
Selfless.
and selfless, but it's
Chris
looks
Fagan
a little
spoke
bit
about it
weirder.
before the
Yeah.
game, so I heard this. You hear this?
No.
How he actually kind of clarified it.
Okay.
It wasn't a full-blown player decision. So my understanding was, I think the discussion's been going on for a couple of weeks. They're not going that well. They had the bye, and Fagan's thought was the bye would have freshened them up. First game after the bye, they played really poorly, and then I think he got a text off Daniel Rich saying, "Can I catch up later today?" I think Jack Gunston, they had an honest discussion about, okay, what are we doing now? So pretty much what Fagan said was they came to a mutual decision to have a little block of training and not play.
But yeah,
But
I'm
why
not
don't
sure
you
how
say
you
just
come
get
straight back in.
dropped? Just say that you're getting dropped, though.
Yeah,
I think he
But
said,
is it-
they want, out of respect for
They're
what
trying-
they've
they're
done in
trying
their
to protect-
careers,
yeah.
they wanted to,
trying
and
to
they know
protect
they're going to be
the
important later in the year, so the dynamic
right.
of...
if they get back in.
Yeah, well,
that's the other part of it. Is like, how do you keep the dynamic at a club going really well if you've got two older players just like, yeah, we'll just train a bit harder and
Yeah.
back you
I reckon that was, he said that, he goes, VFL chat again, he goes, when they're ready to go again, we'll either bring them back in if everything marries up, or they'll come back through.
The Scooby-Doos.
The VFL.
That's it.
and then the one thing we've got to worry about is the flights for the game. So,
and the cost.
How much are the costs of that flight going to be for them to get into the VFL?
When you're not playing, like you get dropped or something, do you want to? Are you excited to play in the VFL? Or
yeah, sure, mate. I'm really, really excited.
Can't wait.
Yeah, fucking really excited.
So is it bad form for them to go like you know what, we're going so bad we don't even want to play at VFL?
Oh, look, let me just say that I wish I could have said that because it's a great win. You just get the weekends off, basically.
Exactly. It's like, and we're gonna, you know what? We're gonna get out of town completely. We're going to Hawaii for a week.
Yeah, literally.
Back at the Tigers, when we were going really poorly though, we were aligned with Coburg back then. They were going well, and boys were saying it's actually better to play.
Especially
than playing senior footy.
Drop a few marks on purpose.
Are you kidding? Are you?
No, I can remember that. There's plenty of times that, especially Carlton, it's better. Hey, let's get on to Carlton
Dill just
now.
went to a place. Did you guys see
Yeah,
that?
that was there's some dark memories that I've tried to sort of get rid of. That Carlton game on the weekend. Are the Blues back, boys? Are the Blues back? They beat Gold Coast at the G.
I'm not convinced. Not convinced. It was a good quarter. That second quarter was really good, but I'm not convinced they're completely back yet until they beat someone of substance.
Yeah,
I think it says a lot about the Suns and where they're at, Mick. To be completely honest, like
nothing more Gold Coast than what happened on the weekend. Yeah, Gold Coast have a bye.
Yeah,
MCG weather in Melbourne.
That'd be
cold and windy.
One of their only games they get to play.
Not raining. Nice.
Suns have done that forever. It's got a few good wins.
Teams
Suns
are 1-5 now off the bye though. Like, is the bye actually helping anyone? I'm not sure it does. It's other than a break. No. Boys get to go away.
Yeah. Well, So
coaches will be calling for it not to happen.
So your point about the Blues is right. Like they have the bye now, don't they?
Yeah.
So now they've got to maintain. But Suns at the MCG in the middle of winter, you're getting that result.
Yeah.
But this was their chance.
Simplistic,
because the Blues weren't going great. So this was their chance to say, you know what, if we're going to play finals this year, we've got to beat the Blues here today. And they looked all right in the first quarter. But then the wheels fell off hard.
The club Suns are so reliant on their top few players.
No doubt.
Anderson, Rao was quiet. King. Their depth, when those guys are going, they jump on board, but they're not. They didn't get going yesterday.
Their game plan at the moment is kicking moonballs to Levi Casbolt. And that's honestly what it is. It's like, boys, let's get the ball, bomb it as high as we can, and just hope Levi can clunk it.
And we'll get a good contest.
Yeah, get a good contest.
Because at least you know Levi's going to crash a pack.
He loves a moonball, and he marks it better than
Charlie Ballard's a bloody good player, though. I've got to give him some credit.
100 games. Out of respect to Tommy Sheridan, who came off the long run for the Suns selection.
Yeah.
Suns 2s won by 125 yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So,
Marvy
or Chol? Alex Sexton, was he the sub?
No, he got subbed. So I did want to bring this up. I know this is a great thing, but just a little bit of a flashback because I know where this bloke was at on the weekend.
Yeah.
Tom Berry. Was it Thomas Berry?
One handball to half time.
Got subbed off at half time. I've been there, brother.
Yeah.
I know the feeling because often at the moment, subs are getting the sub
15 minutes in the last quarter.
15 minutes in the last quarter. So Paddy Dow has played probably 20 minutes of footy in the last 2
every
weeks.
Touch.
Yeah.
Every touch.
20 minutes of footy in the last 2 weeks, because he comes on when the game's just done. Thomas Berry got taken out at halftime. I reckon I'm the only other person who's been taken out at halftime.
Not injured.
Not injured.
I got taken out at halftime.
Have you? Not injured?
In a derby.
Yeah.
Well, technically 4 minutes after halftime.
Okay.
But I started on the bench.
Yeah.
Ross asked for a lift.
Yeah.
Gave me 4 minutes on the bench. Then subbed.
When you're going so badly in a game, like one handball to half time.
Yeah.
And again, like thinking of as a fantasy fan where I'm always checking people's numbers, I just think
it doesn't help when you message us after
No. But I just think
DM him, mate.
How can you not get go and get the ball?
No, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. I'm telling you, the harder you try, the more it just fucking runs away from you sometimes. I reckon the best, and you boys would know this better than anyone, you've been big accumulators of the footy, but I'm not a big accumulator. And I remember one day, the most I ever had in a game was 26 touches. And I reckon I ran the least I've ever ran. Another game, round 1 MCG, I ran 16.5 kilometres and had 3 touches.
You're running the wrong way.
I was running away from it. It just doesn't work. Sometimes it's like a magnet.
Are big, mate. They're big, those round 1 games, you know. They really are. For you baggers.
You know.
Yeah. Well, then settle a question for us. We always, say in the WhatsApp group with the fantasy guys, when somebody's really let us down and not got the ball, we do a lot of I think if I was out there, I could have got more points there.
You
Whoever
probably
it
could
was,
have.
right?
You probably could
Well,
have.
Kate Simpson had donuts his first 3 games.
Yes.
I mean, that's...
But it was different then because...
He didn't go on.
You would have played 30% game time
Yeah.
probably and come
Yeah.
on like a sub.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Favola finished one game into minuses because you get minus for giving away a free kick, and I think he finished on a -1 game. But do you think I could? I never played footy. Played a little bit of high school footy. Played a little bit of basketball. Just looking at me, do you think I could go into an AFL game and get more than
If
one
you played
handball?
half back, I reckon you could. Like back
You take
pocket
a
or
kick in.
something. Take some kick-ins and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could.
No, 2
But you know what the thing
2 to
is?
1.
I reckon in VFL, for example...
We're back.
Okay, we're back to VFL. In VFL, you couldn't get a
This is
kick.
important.
I don't reckon you could get a kick if you were an amateur, but in AFL, because the skills are so good, and if you just stood in the same place, sooner
Someone
or
would
later,
use you.
someone will just use you. Like
Couple
it's
of times,
easier.
then they'd see you do something.
Yeah,
and
and then
they're
they'll
like, maybe
go,
we avoid him.
It's actually easier.
Who's the raffle
It's
winning kid
easier
who's
to
come out here to
play-
play? Let's give him a kick.
It's easier to play AFL than it is to play VFL because normally if you're out and you're in a good spot, you get used. Versus like,
It's a different game though, the
Yeah.
VFL. It's a bit more contested.
and
down
you're
the
more of an
line.
AFL type talent.
Yeah,
So
I know.
what
I feel that about myself. So I'm glad you
think
picked that up. Yeah.
You'd get used in AFL, but you probably wouldn't get a kick in the VFL.
Yeah.
But you'd get good flights in the VFL, so that'd be good. North and Saints here, like, do we care?
So I'm at a point, right? I think North, Brett, this is a good question for you.
Yeah, okay.
Who's closer to finishing in the top 4 in the AFL ladder?
Yeah.
North Melbourne or St Kilda?
Or going by list, I would nearly go towards North
I'd go North.
because I think the Saints need to lose a couple of players I'm talking about, and then regenerate and bring in some more talent. Because last year, Mateus Filippo, the kid they got in,
He's gonna be good.
He's going to be a good
Well, he
player.
already
Machito
is.
Owen's going to be a really good
Yeah, I
player.
love him.
But they need more of that at that age because I reckon their top end is nowhere near what the top end is of North Melbourne's.
Yeah. I tend to agree. Dill, throw to you. I'm just going to, I agree. North Melbourne close to the top 4. Sounds stupid, doesn't it? Because North might not win a game for the next 6 weeks and might finish second last.
But they've got some damn good
But they've been
players.
in the draft for years.
Yeah.
And St Kilda have always been a side the last
They top up.
10 years that have been middle of the table, so they get picks 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of, this time of year, they're kind of in the finals.
Then they
They're kind
traded heavy for Hanbury, Jones,
Yeah.
Brad Hill, a couple of others.
I reckon I know what you're onto here. I completely agree. It's like that whole thing of the biggest curse nearly in footy for teams is finishing around that like 10th to 6th. It's like because you get false hope sometimes, and if you don't continue it, you just fucking float in there for in
10%
Yeah,
betterment from each player. Mate,
Yeah.
we'll be top 4 next year, no
Yeah.
worries. But
versus going back and going like, you know what, we're actually shit, which is I think what, to be honest, Hawthorn have done so well in, like, I think we'll say what they've done so well because they could have kept Mitchell, O'Meara, all these players and floated around, maybe pressure for the top 8 and sit at that top 8, bottom 8 sort of spot. But they've gone, you know what, fuck it, we don't want to just be a middle of the run team. Let's actually go back, get good young players and go from there. So I think they've actually done it smartly because Saints a little bit are like that.
I reckon as changes are brewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well,
Players?
it's Ross first year. He'll
Yeah.
come in. He'll probably pick off 5 or 6. They're like, well, in 3 years,
They're
if
not
we want to
taking
be
us forward.
you're not there.
Yeah, fair
and we need 21-year-old that we trade in or the draft.
Yeah, that's cool. North are exciting though. I love their young players. Like, they're gonna be, if they can get it right. Hopefully, Clarko comes back. I
Which
think
one's
they're
your
gonna be
favourite?
smart.
Well, Larky's signing to management style.
76, pick 76 too.
Yeah.
Pick
Big
76.
Silver.
He's from Melbourne or WA.
I don't manage
You know,
Nick,
Sue
so-
Blunt.
No, but like you're good at this stuff.
I know Nick Lucky. I follow
Yeah, I
the
don't know where he's
Kangas
from.
closely because my brother's a North Melbourne supporter.
Yeah, right.
And I want for them to do good.
They actually look good on the weekend.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite young bloke there?
Wardlaw.
I was going to
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah,
that
no,
guy,
Wardlaw
he's-
for sure.
And when I only watched the second half of the game against Essendon, and he was racking
tough.
it up.
Yeah, he's tough as nails.
But then I
His
went and
haircut.
checked
Black
his
boots.
fantasy score, and it wasn't that high. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
He's,
What he did
It's
in
what he
the
does
first
on the
half.
inside. His handballs create. I reckon he's the most dominant player in the last quarter of that game. He had 7 handballs, but most of them clearances and some big hard balls.
Yeah.
Davies Uniac's another one. He's going to be a superstar for him.
Davies Uniacke is just
the
all
big
round.
ball up front.
Simpkin, Zerha.
Zerha.
He's not. How old is he now?
Cheezel.
Now, I can ask you this question
24,
with some,
yeah.
with some confidence.
Yeah.
No, he'd be 20. Yeah, 20.
But the Larky contract, right? It's a big.
What was it?
Because
5
he-
years?
That's a big commitment
'cause
for
he would've
someone
been-
who's with a team that hasn't won a lot of games
Yeah.
and probably had a lot of clubs saying, you
Bloody
know
oath.
what, we'll throw a bit at you to get you out of there. But he's like, you know what, I can see the
a good
light,
sign.
you know. And that you hope that just says to other people, Ben Mackay's out of contract as well. We don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
But then they're young guys who have committed, Sheasel and Wardlaw. Simpkins, obviously, there. McDonald. Davies Uniacke signed for a few. So
I'll tell you what's funny about Larky. I heard him on the radio the other day. And maybe this is just because young footballers, you know how when they're a little bit media shy, they drop their voice and they talk kind of quietly and don't have a lot of confidence. And they asked him about his contract extension and playing at the Roos till he's 30. And he was like, I mean, I'm just so excited to be playing at North Melbourne until I'm 30 years old. This is a dream come true. It's like very, like, I bet he really feels that, but it sounded like he was pissed off.
Yeah, bought a house in Aston Vale, so I don't really want to move. I'm nice and close to the.
It's easier.
It feels good. Moving, it just sucks. So I'm signed here till 2029.
I like North. I think they're good. Hopefully, it works back with Clarkson too. Now, Brett's giving me a hard out today. He likes to give me hard outs.
What do you got on?
Oh, he's
another meeting.
He's got a lot on.
Meeting?
He's a busy guy.
Are we done?
No, we're not done. Dangerfield injury. So on the weekend, I didn't even know this, but Paddy Dangerfield suffered broken ribs and a collapsed lung in the second quarter and played out the whole match out. That is impressive. That's very, very impressive. So I thought today,
toughness
as an AAMI clanger as well, maybe we'll chuck them in again, was what's an injury? Now it can be on the field, off the field, it could be on the panels, it could be, travelling, could be talking on radio and you had a frog in your throat or something like that. What's the biggest injury you've had?
Which is akin to playing with a collapsed lung.
Yeah, it's a similar. What's your biggest injury you've had that you've played through?
Well, most recently was I played that elimination final with a torn calf and kept going on, played out the whole game. Selfless, looked after Easton Wood, tried to take him out of the game.
That was tough, though.
Got the boys through to a grand final. They lost by 89 points.
Did you play in the grand final or were you injured?
No, I was sat in the stands.
Shame on them.
That would have been...
Oh, sorry, man. That
was do the Giants still have to wear orange ties? They look horrible.
Yeah,
I remember just having a flashback of you with an orange tie on.
I was there as well.
It's kind of not a great mesh.
I was there as well.
Is it like a charcoaly... So, because that's what they are, the charcoal and orange.
Yeah.
But
Brett, do you ever think if you played in that game,
I would have been the difference?
Yeah.
It might have been 80 points.
The difference of
but
maybe
in your heyday, I
70,
remember your
80.
fantasy scores, man. In your heyday, I reckon you were 80 points different.
Over 100.
Yeah.
I checked them too, don't worry.
Nick, you didn't play through your broken leg.
No,
You sort of got carried off.
weak as piss.
Yeah,
Let's that one out.
That was weak by you.
Jimmy Buckley would have a good answer to
No,
this
he
question.
would. He would. Yeah, he would. He did,
But
actually.
if you're interested, just contact Dyl. He'll come and do your
His
sporty.
would have been finished at 2 a.m. at the pub, and then I come out and played and got 30.
Yeah.
Literally.
What did I do? I did broken foot in a final.
Yep.
And then got it injected early in the week. And I was on crutches all week. Crutched into the game, into the final. Elimination final. I hadn't walked all week.
And you played?
Yeah. They
Jabbed out.
local anaesthetic in the warm-up. Never felt like I was running on air.
Were you on the
Felt that
ASIC
good.
school buses as well that day?
No, I wore the normal.
In normal
I think
ways?
they did say maybe you wear these.
The school buses.
But don't you need to feel your foot to
Have you
kick
seen
your
Nick kick? Have you seen him kick? He's a handballer.
Jen had a really good first half. I think we were winning by 4 goals in a final, and I'd had a good first half. And then after the half time, I started running around, started to feel just like a little bit of misplacement in the foot.
Yeah.
Towards the back end, we end up losing. And I took my sock off at the end of the game.
And your foot's not there.
I took my sock off, it was still on. My foot was just purple. It was all pretty gross.
That's brave, mate.
Thanks, mate. Would have played the next week as well.
At what point, though, is it not selfless? Like, is
I'll tell you, mate.
like going on injured, and you're like, I'll play through it because I'm
you got
tough.
a fresh guy on the bench.
But you got somebody who
Like
can come in, and if I'm in the right place at the right time, someone will use me.
So listen, I had a pretty serious corky that I went through in a game, and I easily could have played through it all the next couple of weeks. I could have played through the corky. Could have played it.
Would have.
I was like, get me out there. I want to get out there with this corky. But they just said, look,
The humidity in Mackay.
the humidity with the swelling in the leg and stuff like that,
And the plane flight.
and the plane flight. They said
That was paid for?
we can't. It was in the VFL too, so it was paid for. But we can't physically, and the doctor said I can't, with my medical certificate, let you continue with this because you could die of blood loss in your leg.
Braveness aside.
And I said, I don't care, doc, get me out
And wait,
there.
I don't know which part's the pantomime anymore. Did they really say that?
in other words, but there was it wasn't verbatim, but it was in those words.
But they really go.
I'm
They
never
go
using
like.
verbatim again.
So a doctor assesses you and then writes a little note to say
Yeah.
Dyl can't play this week.
Yeah,
like
sends it
school.
up to the coach.
There's a club
So,
doctor
like,
there.
No, there's
yeah.
a doctor there, but I didn't know. I didn't know it was like that. Where
You
you're
need a
saying,
permission slip to
You know,
play.
what's
daycare.
actually might be quite interesting to explain to Jack is like how it works when, say, you are injured and you are trying to get up for a game, and say maybe my situation didn't happen as much as you guys, but when the coach really wanted you to play, and the doctor was like, "We don't like." You say you're going in under a bit of an injury cloud, and you had to do the fitness test, and you'd have these really awkward conversations with three people: it'd be you, the senior coach, and the doctor.
Yep.
And then probably the high performance manager too, and you're all sort of debating, and you're like, I don't know if I am actually right to play, but I don't want to be a bitch and say I'm not. And the doctor's like, you can't play. The physical guy's like, you got to fucking play, and the coach is like, mate, just fucking play. And you're just like, I don't know what to fucking do right now. This is like such an awkward situation.
because every player who you see on TV says they want to play. I just want to get back. I want to play. So you think the players don't actually want to play?
Well, there's sometimes where you like 100%. There's been times where I'm like, I had a lot of calf injuries and stuff too, and I was like, I know for sure if I go out there, I'm going to tear the fuck out of this again. But you also don't.
But isn't that
like,
enough for the player just to say I'm not ready, and then that holy trinity that you talked about, it doesn't matter because the player surely knows better than
What was the
anybody.
example? There was an example Stephen made in that grand final.
Yeah.
And hammy.
They had a hammy.
Yeah.
And then the doctor and the high performance, I think this is true, and it's definitely not verbatim.
Yeah, but
But Stephen May's talking to the coach and they're like, mate, you're all good. So it's this, and they've kind of bluffed him that it wasn't. But they're walking back in the room going, he should miss 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That happened, didn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So Stephen the whole time didn't know.
I think Stephen May actually said, "I'm playing. I'm fine."
Yeah,
Yeah,
he seems like that type of operator.
Did he play?
Well,
or
he played.
He did play. Yeah, with torn hammy. But yeah, there is definitely parts of those times where you're like, I don't know if you guys can comment on it, but there's been times for sure where the players are wanting to play or don't want to play, but you're just stuck in that conundrum of like a 4-way mixed messaging, and they all just.
Did you guys experience? Like, is that your experience? What Dyl said that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I had the
little
foot,
bit,
yeah.
yeah.
That broken foot, I was like agony all week. I'm like, I don't know if I can go out and run.
I mean, if a guy's coming in on crutches, like, I'm not a doctor, but I would point to you and go, I don't think that guy's ready to play football.
I'm not sure you can take them on the field, mate. You're right.
Yeah, I think he's dying. Anyway, last but not least, for empathetic, we touched on that. I'm playing in Spud's game this week, Friday night.
Yeah.
I got picked, pick 4. Gary's team, so Spud's game, Danny Frawley, late Danny Frawley, absolute incredible guy. They're doing a game this week, St Kilda versus Brisbane, Friday night, pre that game, and there's 2 teams, Tim Watson, Gary Lyon coaching. I'm on Gary's team. Dan was last picked, I was 4th pick, so I'm excited for that.
9 aside?
Yeah, I think so. 9
And
aside.
just a little oval.
Yeah.
Full field?
I'll be taking it very seriously.
Full field?
Yeah.
So it's AFL
I don't know.
9s.
Yeah, I don't know. AFL 9s must be, but I'm going out there to prove a point.
I reckon,
Yeah,
can I make a
redemption.
suggestion? I think you should do a Daniel Rich and put your hand up and say,
Say I'm not ready.
I'm not ready.
What colour boots are you going to wear?
Oh, I don't even freaking have any at the moment. I'm going to go down and get some.
Oh, yeah.
You got any spares?
Yeah, it wouldn't fit you.
How long since you played? I'm going to play for Sheffield United this week, I've decided.
Oh, yeah? I played a couple of games for Devon Meadows of all players. Paddy Ryder's playing there at the moment.
Right, Peninsula.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. And I trained really hard on Thursday thinking, you know what, I need to
Train how you
blow
play.
the cobbies out.
Train
I'll
how
be
you
right.
play.
And
Play how you
then
train.
come out on the Sunday and seriously felt like I'd done 1,000,000 deadlifts the day before. I was that sore and tight. Oh, my God. I played like a dog.
Did you guys both play local footy after retiring?
No, that's the only 2 games I played.
Really?
I play AFL 9s on a Monday night.
Yeah.
which-
It's because Brett actually did retire.
And I was one of those guys that, got to the end of my career.
And he retired, but
And was like, I could retire here. I'm 31. But I want Dewey to look me in the eye and say, I'm no longer going with you.
Yeah.
So I got delisted.
Yes.
So then I had to go play, didn't I? To prove everyone
So
right.
you could retire in your own right.
yeah.
And COVID came.
That's actually the part. That's a really good point on that to listening is the fact that you're actually giving them the easy option. Make them fucking look you in the eye and say, you're delisted.
So where did you go after that? Did you go back to Werribee?
Werribee, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the 2020 season.
2019. So 18.
Yeah,
I
so
got
you finished the
delisted.
same year as me. Oh,
20,
no,
you
18.
were going to go 20.
I finished 2019.
No, 18 I finished.
same.
19.
Yeah,
19
same
or
year.
Werribee. And then-
Me and Brett
How
together
was that?
retired.
What was that discussion? Was that Camo or was that Leon that gave you the...
I think
Or it was just a
we're all quite
non-spoken-
self-aware of what was going on at the situation, and my biggest fear walking into that meeting was that they were going to have just somehow. I knew that it was never going to happen, but the biggest fear was them going, yeah, we'd like to sign you for another one just to keep you on the list. And I was like,
do the pre-season and earn your spot back.
Yeah, it was going to be like that. And they actually said, it's we're going out of you and Tommy Sheridan. And I said, give it to him. Let him have it. I don't, like, no, they were going with him anyway. Yeah. They were going with him anyway, but because he'd only been there for 1 year, I had 2, and I was just like,
didn't he show?
And he proved him a great point that they probably both should have been fucking delisted.
Do you remember that game we played up in the snow in Canberra?
Yes.
Yeah, I tore my calf in that game, and then that week Cambo comes up to me. I was just sitting there by myself. He's like, "We should catch up this week." And right then I was just like, "Oh fuck!"
And he's your mate too. Like he's a good friend of yours.
And I was like, "All right." So me, him, and Leon went for lunch, and I'm sort of sitting there, knowing what's coming, but just being like, "Yeah, they're like, I reckon it's probably right, mate. If you just don't want to go through another pre-season, the same sort of thing." I was like, "It's probably the tap on the shoulder I wanted because as a player, you just want to hang on for dear life."
Are you saying you got delisted like us?
No. They said you can go on if you want, but it was more of a.
Just do it.
You get the contract offer?
No, I didn't. I'm not. No,
it sounds like a delisting, Brett. It sounds more like a delisting. Sounds a lot like my meeting actually in the industry, but it sounds like you delisted. Yeah. And Brett said, that's fair enough. I've got a lot of mountain bike riding to do once I finish my career.
So it was.
So do you say during the game, like you do the injury in the game, and then before the game's even finished, they come up to you and say, "We want to speak to you during the week."
I come back and played the final, and then I was done after that.
Yeah. Next time you watch a game, you're going to be on the lookout for like little subplots of things happening.
Oh, mate, there's so many.
So he's talking to the trainers. Where is the footy manager? He needs to be talking to him.
Lastly, before we finish up, there used to be this one kiss of death at Carlton that you knew that things weren't going your way, like towards the end of it. We used to have this guy called the Rev, and he's actually still there. So I'll point him out to you guys when you see, like he's a reverend, like he actually works at a local parish.
He sits in the box.
No, he doesn't sit in the box. He just comes down, he volunteers and just like helps out, kicks the footy to the boys. Like he takes out the balls, the bag of balls, and just like a ripping bloke. And he's there every main training session. He's there all the time, and you never really have much to do with him. Always just like, hey, Rev, kick us a footy. And it gets to a certain time of the year, around 17, 18, 16, 17, 18. And if you get a tap on a shoulder from the Rev saying, mate, do you want to go for a walk around the Oval and have a chat? You sort of know that things aren't starting to look your way. And I remember a few times, and it's not that the coaches tell him to do it. It's just that everyone is so in
so
tune
he's
going.
delisting players without.
No, it's more just like going, you're so obviously not in favour right now that Rev go, let's go have a chat with you and see how you're going. So there'd be many times where we'd come to that time of the year and I'd just look out the window and you'd see a few blokes just doing laps around the Oval, just walking with him. And I'm like, oh no, please just don't give me a tap. So I got tapped a few times.
And what's it like coming back into the club, after you get delisted? Are people huddled around the door waiting for you to come out and are you in or out? Or is it more like you just tell individuals slowly?
No, they're very strategic on when you have your meeting.
So you know by that.
It's
everybody else has gone home.
Everyone else is between 10 and 12. I'm at 5:30 p.m. when no staff are around.
Yeah, and it's some other rookie that's played 0 games in the last 7 years. So we both know that we're not getting a contract together.
And as you're walking, everyone's looking away, apart from the development manager or the
PDM. This is what the exit's going to be.
And then there's your 2 garbage bags full of boots.
Just fill your bag up, mate. See you later. But the other one that's funny as well.
I honestly just want to ask. I'm just so interested.
The other one that's funny as well.
Are you joking about that? Do they really make?
That's it.
They really tell you get out straight away.
Not straight away. But the funny thing is before the main,
it's implied.
You've got
when you finish, there's the door.
Yeah.
It's also
don't let it on the way out.
Keep us back as well. But the funny part is before the main exit review with all the coaches, you have to do 10 other reviews. So dietitian, weights coach, strength and conditioning, physios. And the worst part is nearly the torture sitting through those meetings. You got to sit through 10 of them before you get to the actual delisting.
Do it the other way around.
You go, mate. So this is why I was in retirement. I didn't do any of that.
I don't need a weights fucking review. I'm not coming back. You don't need. I don't need a program.
You show the camera what happened to your strides.
The dietitian's eat whatever you want. It really doesn't matter for you. It doesn't matter.
Literally. All right. I think it's verbatim. We've got to go.
What?
Been a good session, boys.
Thanks to who?
Yeah, thanks to Amy. Thanks to Who Covers You. Amy does.
Does Amy give insurance on mountain bikes?
No, they do actually. Yeah, they do. So we'll talk about that off air. Jackie, welcome back anytime. Would you like to come back?
Way funnier than Shez.
Guys, thank you.
You were way funnier than Shez.
No, Sheridan's done. He's done.
out.
Yeah, he's done.
And we need a club to get him in just for a week.
Yeah.
See all these
To just watch behind
take
the
your
scenes.
notebook and you'll just have all the answers.
Underrated.
Maybe even get a game.
Yeah,
You get
you
kicked
would.
to.
Oh, yes, I will just say this. Like, I reckon I've been good for the listener.
Yeah.
And listeners, email Dyl if this is the case.
Please
because
do.
when you guys talk just for footballers,
Yeah.
it's hard to keep up. Like,
Yeah.
you use so much shorthand.
Yeah.
And you're like, the boot stutter tipped off the rev, and now we're flipping backwards into round one. And we're, as listeners, we don't know what you're talking
And
about.
I actually think today I underestimated my whole career how much people are interested in the VFL flights and like how much the VFL finances and how they get to certain places and things as well. So I reckon, boys.
One more question.
That's good.
One more.
The ratings will tell.
One more. The Bell Street exit.
When you see in AFL flights, when you see a whole team on the plane, there's like on domestic flights, usually there's only like 4 or 6 business class flights.
Big
so
dogs.
when I see like Essendon social media put up stuff from the flight, it's like Draper and Heppel in the front row and the rest of them are at the back. How do they choose
on the flights.
How do they choose who sits
How
in
do
the
you
good
think?
seats? I would go. I thought maybe taller.
Sometimes.
Like
Most of the
Draper,
time.
maybe because he's so tall, they put him in up the front.
And then age.
Hep because he's like he's experienced and he's served the club for a a long time.
There you go. Didn't even need to ask a
You've done
question.
it well. So where do you think I sat on those flights?
29B.
In the middle. I used to be pushing the collie truck, the trolley cart down the fucking aisle. Seeing the boys, you want any snacks? You want any tea, coffee? No, all good. All right, let's go for it. More. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
stuff.
Illy XX.